Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 133 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Cameron.
Hey.
And Jake.
Hello.
This week, we'll probably have a bit of a longer show this week than last week. We got quite a bit of news going on. Not all of it great. We've been playing a few games, and we've got a great community question here that we've kind of been pondering over for the last few minutes. But as always, we do the show live on Twitch. Come say hi. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. We've got Mike in the chat already. Come say hi, hang out, ask questions. We try to interact with the chat as much as we can as we're recording. We also put the show on YouTube. If you're an audio listener, you can go check out the YouTube channel, Xbox Hall of Gamers. Pretty easy to find us. I put all the VODs there, do a little bit of editing. Char does a wonderful thumbnail every week, so go check it out. All right. I guess let's get straight into it. So we got a question here from the Moonzon, one of our wonderful community members, who says, what's your most unique achievement that you've unlocked? This question comes from Still Wakes the Deep, which has an achievement that I can't pronounce, which basically requires you to play the entire game in Scottish Gaelic, which is an interesting one. Yeah, I guess because the game is set in Scotland or off the coast of Scotland. Yeah, I don't know. We've sort of talked a little bit about this before the show, but anything kind of spring to mind for you guys around kind of unique achievements?
God, no. Not in the time frame I had to answer the question.
Sure.
I'm sure if I was given enough time, I could have found something where I would have been like, oh, that was really sweet. But yeah, I'm blanking right now. Other than, I mean, we talked about it in the pre-show, obviously. White Knight, I think, Cameron, you were going to talk about that a little bit, but I did play that game, and that game had really cool achievements revolving around the time of day you played it, or time of night, rather, and the real-life moon cycles.
Like outside of that, the only one I've really thought of is Stanley Parable.
Oh, yeah. Stanley Parable is a great shout. Yeah.
Yeah, so it might not necessarily have started as Xbox achievements, but, you know, what's the achievement called? Like, go outside, something like that?
Go outside and play the game for like 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. So, like, those, I mean, I think when you're talking unique achievements, like, there's those ones that obviously can spring up news articles and that just out of interest. But, yeah, I'm struggling to think of any other unique ones. I can think of, like, most recognizable, which would obviously be your, like, seriously achievements.
Sure. Yeah.
Stuff like that. But outside of that, you don't... Outside of, like, White Knight and that, I can't think of anybody that really uses the achievement system to create something truly unique.
I know they're out there. I just literally am just, like, blanking.
Yeah, we were just talking about, like, how, like, we've earned so many achievements over the years that it's hard to keep track of them. And even the interesting ones don't immediately spring to mind because there's just so many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know I've gotten achievements that were like, oh, haha, that's a funny reference or inside joke.
Yeah.
Or,
Like, very memorable.
that was cool that they thought of this as an achievement or something like that for other things, but I'm just like, yeah, bro, like, I can't think of anything.
Like Deadpool was great for that too. Like, they had a lot of references to achievements within the game itself, and you would earn them and he would point to them and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. The sort of, if we're talking about like the uniqueness of achievements, games that spring to mind are things like Crackdown. Obviously, was one of those early games that just really understood that, like, let's do interesting stuff with achievements. But even like looking at the list now, there are like a lot of them are still like collect all the orbs, kill all the gang members, collect all the dossiers, like commandeer 100 vehicles, like the kind of shit that you just see in video games all the time now.
I just thought of one. And it's a cheat answer. The day one achievement.
Yeah, actually, I saw that on my list, actually, when I was going through, and I was like, oh, yeah, that day one achievement. That is probably the most unique achievement I have.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I have that one too.
So, for anybody that doesn't know what the day one achievement is, it was essentially like, when you got a Xbox One, they would include a, you know, redeemable code which unlocked an achievement. For being
only the day one version of the Xbox One, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I was supposed to have one because I won it in a competition, which I've talked about before, and I'm still salty about that I never got it, but whatever.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. I won an achievement hunting competition with a small website, and then they reneged on the deal. And so I ended up having to go and try and find one of those codes because I didn't end up with the day one edition of the Xbox, unfortunately. So that was very, very upsetting.
There was a point for years where people were selling them on eBay for like ridiculous amounts.
Yeah, it cost me a decent amount, but yeah.
That's crazy. I never, yeah, I had a day one. I just recently came across my day one year Xbox Live card, like the metal one that they sent. I just recently came across that. I should put that up somewhere. That's a collector's item now. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going through my list of like looking at, because I think another interesting thing maybe to think about is even interesting weird games usually have pretty boring fucking achievements. Like even, you know, like most games have oh, you finished the story, here's an achievement, or you finished this chapter, here's an achievement, or you beat this game on the hardest difficulty or whatever. Like I was thinking, like I have like Nier Automata here, and like most of the achievements are pretty standard, boring stuff. Like, you know,
I mean, you can buy them all.
True, there is that too, but like a lot of it is like, yeah, get the endings, like do some side quests, like die, like, you know, like it's most of it is like story related or relatively straightforward. Kind of like there isn't really a lot of uniqueness in the achievements themselves outside of the looking up the skirt 10 times. One that I was looking through my list was Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons actually has a really good achievement list. Because I don't think any of the 12 of them are story related, which is interesting to me for a game like that. Like I was looking at this list and I was like, actually, you can actually finish this game without getting to the end of it. I know the last achievement is for watching some whales. It's like maybe 15, 20 minutes before the end of the game, if that. But they're all things like finding a secret, watching the whales, reuniting two birds, doing a dance, making a wish on a falling star, there's this like a black sheep that there's like, you got to make the bunnies play nice because there's a white bunny who doesn't have friends, and so you got to put him in soot to make him look black like the other bunnies, and like it's all just stuff that like you could get just by playing through the game, but you could very easily miss all of it if you just like mainlined the story, and you would get no achievements for the entire game, which is crazy to think about. Oh yeah, Mike mentions A Way Out as well, again by what are they called? Hazelight, I think. Yeah, Hazelight's Hazelight Studios.
Oh yeah.
Similar sort of thing where they have a lot of achievements that like aren't story related at all. They're all just kind of side stuff that you would do.
Yeah. One that springs to mind is Borderlands 2. Shoot the guy in the face.
Oh, shooting McFace shooting.
Yeah. Shooting McFace. I don't know. Probably like I think just unique in terms of like recognizable.
Well, that's kind of what I mean. Is that like there are a lot of games that have interesting games that have achievements. I mean, like McPixel 3 or whatever, you know, had a bunch of weird achievements in it and stuff. But like the game itself is like super strange and like little mini game stuff. But the achievements themselves are kind of like, yeah, find all the things, find Steve in all the levels. Like, I feel like achievements, as achievements have evolved as a concept, they kind of have gone from like really, really boring stuff to kind of interesting back to kind of boring.
I feel like they went from really, really boring stuff where nobody actually vetted the achievement to pretty interesting stuff back to boring, but people were more tame. Like, I feel like I've been playing a lot of 360 games lately, so I look at 360 games where it's like, you know, do 10,000 multiplayer matches of this thing, and it's like, that's insane. That's an insane ask.
Yeah, so it's like 10,000 is a lot, right? They'll play this for a while. Yeah, like 10,000 is an insane amount of games.
And now multiplayer achievements come out, and it's like play a game, you know, maybe revive someone,
kill 100 people at most.
Yeah, kill 100 people where you're averaging 15 kills a game.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. Still back to that boring stuff, but it's like way more calmed down. Thank God, honestly.
Mark said, didn't iDub have something unique to do with Twitch? Yeah, it was like some like
you had to tie your account in with Twitch, and then you would. I think that's all it was. You just had to like, or maybe you had to tie your Xbox account to Twitch and then like watch somebody stream the game.
I think someone had to type in one of the things or whatever to make something happen on the screen or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was something weird.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I just thought, like, what's the best way to put this? You guys are aware of Pirate Software? Like the
Yeah.
streamer?
Yeah.
So game dev created, what's the game called? Is it Heartbound?
He did create Heartbound.
Heartbound, yeah, okay. Cool. So he has one of his clips up where he talks about the interesting thing about his achievements for Steam is it's essentially the DRM for the game.
Right.
So checks that it's like whether somebody's pirated a copy of the game.
Got it.
And the theme achievements is how he uses it to make sure players are legit.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too. Well, that's just Steam in general, because you can't get achievements in games that you have pirated.
Mm. But yeah, it's like
because the way pirated games work on Steam is really weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of measure, right? Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
You have to pirate a game on Steam. You have to bind it to an active Steam ID, and everyone has there's one game that everyone has in their library, no matter what, and it's like hidden from you. Developers technically use it to like test their game in production on Steam without like releasing their game.
Right.
But you can also bind other games to it. So you can actually, it's interesting, you can look at the game on like Steam trackers and you can see the amount of people either playing developed games or pirating games.
It's so funny. Oh man. I'm just looking through my list. The other one of like an achievement list that I liked a lot was the Spyro Reignited trilogy.
I just started that because Percy was like really like pulling my leg of just like I want to play this dragon game.
It's a great list. It basically has one achievement per level. So they're like, and it might the achievement might not be finish the level. Some of them are like beat the boss or whatever, but some of them are like do this thing in this level, and it's just like every level has like a little thing to do, and I really like that design mythos. Actually, funny enough, like Call of Duty has also kind of done that a lot, where it's like usually each mission will have at least one kind of interesting like achievement related to it in the campaign.
That's what the achievement should like. Stuff like Mile High Club and all that, where it's like give me stuff that might be like a little bit challenging in that, but also give me stuff that I'm not going to grind for. Like I love creative achievements. I don't like grindy achievements.
Agreed.
I mean, some of the achievements I've been doing on like the retro stuff I've been doing have been pretty interesting. I feel like you just get that though when you have community-driven stuff.
Sure.
Because they're just a little more creative.
They have an understanding
they have the
of the
time
system
to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Like I was playing Pikmin recently, and there's an achievement for getting like all the items in one of the levels without ever getting blue Pikmin. Like before you unlock blue Pikmin.
Right. Okay. Cool.
And you have to do like a few kind of speedrunny skips to be able to pull that off, or like abuse some like mechanics to the game or glitches or whatever to make that work. And that was really cool and really fun. It was just like stuff like that. And that's such a cool thing about retro achievements. It's like now that everyone's basically cracked the code on these games, like everyone knows the tricks. They've been out for like 20, 30 years. People are developing achievements around like random, like imagine Halo 2 had achievements developed. I mean, obviously it did with the remake, I guess, but like imagine if it had achievements developed now by the community, and it's stuff like get outside the map in one of the multiplayer maps, and like I don't know, because that's the stuff I used to do when I was playing the game that we just like figured out when I was younger, and I think it's interesting to see all these old games that people found glitches or tricks or strats or whatever that now are like do that strat and you'll get an achievement for it. That's cool.
Well, that's why I like Halo's MCC's achievement list so much, because like even like the speedrun achievements are all references to like famous Halo speedrunners.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's that achievement list feels like it's very much a celebration of the community.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And recognizing like Necadela and like those kind of like speedrunners.
And go, yeah, exactly. Like I think to both you guys' point, it is really interesting to see what an achievement list looks like from a brand new game, from a remaster, from like another game in a series. Like if you look at the achievement list comparing of like even like Gears 1 to Gears 2, definitely a lot of similarities, right? But they decided that we're going to like, oh, we're going to do like another seriously achievement, but we're not going to make it multiplayer. We're going to make it all the modes, and we're going to, we're going to add another 0 on the end of it, which makes it crazy. But it was more like, actually, people like to play. People don't just want to play multiplayer. People want to play Horde. People want to play campaign. We want to reward them for all of those things and make sure it's like consistent.
I don't think you should use seriously and reward in the same sentence.
Maybe not, but but I think that I think that, like to your point, Jake, around like having people know how the game works now, because when achievements are created, they have to be created during development, towards the end of development. They don't have real people playing these games, breaking them, finding interesting ways of doing stuff. One other achievement that sprung to mind was the don't skip any cutscene ones from that. What was that game?
There was the case of
Last Case of Benjamin Fox. Yeah, that was the don't skip any cutscenes one, which I thought was funny because it was just like you don't usually see that.
Which is a reference to Nick, who we've had on the show before, because Nick always skips cutscenes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
And
Every game should have an achievement like that.
They credit him as well for that, which I think.
As somebody who's pained whenever I see somebody just mashing through the dialogue in the cutscenes, every game needs a don't skip the cutscenes, and you have to spend at least 2 seconds in every dialogue window.
Yeah, there's actually a quiz at the end of it, and if you don't get it right, they you don't get the achievement. Yeah,
there you go.
I know what I'm like though. I would always worry about. I'm very much a firm believer, like, don't include missables in your.
Agreed. Games. As a philosophy, I totally agree.
I'm not. I'm okay with missables. They suck, and it sucks to miss them, and it never feels good. But I think there'd be so many things. Like, I think the achievement hunting landscape is better with missable achievements. I'll say it. Hot take. Spicy hot take.
That is a hot take. That is a hot take because a lot of
I would say it depends on the context. But like, I don't know. I feel more immersed in the game if it doesn't have missables.
Mm.
From an achievement hunter, I agree, for sure. Like, because I'm always stressed. But it's like, I think a game. I think it's very, very natural for a lot of games to have a missable achievement. Like, what about a choice? What about a split in the story, right? Where you have to pick one or the other, and there's achievements for not only necessarily maybe that choice, but just maybe there's achievements for the route you took.
Sure.
Like, it totally splits the story and breaks it apart. Yeah, you can drop a dummy save and stuff, and like go back. But I also think there's things where it's like, what if there's a mission where you need to save all your people, but they can die, and you get rewarded with an achievement if you save everybody. I think that's a good achievement.
Sure, but that's when you add like a chapter select and you go back and try it again. Like that's kind of what I mean. Is that like,
sure, but is it so? Is that? I mean, in that respect, is any achievement really ever missable?
Sure, I guess. Yeah, I get what you mean, right? I think missable truly means that like there isn't like a nice easy way of getting back without restarting the whole game. And
I think the missable achievements that like really grind my gears are like, get 100% on every like level in terms of discovering every bit, but then there's one particular game that there's one particular level that gets locked off, and
you miss something on the level 3 and you can't go back to level.
Yeah, that sucks. Like that stuff feels bad, but it's like at that point too, it's like how do you do an achievement like do you just not do an achievement like that?
Exactly, you just don't do those
have that achievement.
Yeah, exactly.
But then wouldn't it kind of suck because it's like if the achievement is get 100% of everything, but like there's one thing that like gets locked off, wouldn't it be like, well, you're not incentivized to get 100% everything, which to me is why I'm achievement hunting. I like 100% in games.
Yeah, I think that.
So I think you can 100% something else in like a different context though. Like
I don't know.
I use like map discovery for that kind of. But say if it was Borderlands, you could change that to, they've got achievements centered around doing, what's that, checklist?
Yeah, the challenge list.
Like the challenge list, yeah?
Yeah, right.
That seems more of like 100% kind of thing that I would want to aim for as compared to locking off an area.
I guess the one time I really hate a missable is really when it's like, you had to play perfectly through the whole game, and if you like didn't, and it only pops at the end of the game.
Final Fantasy X.
Like, that sucks.
Getting 100% in that game, or actually, yeah, like when I was looking through achievement list, I looked at Deus Ex with like Foxiest of the Hounds or whatever, and it's like don't set off any alarms.
Yeah.
Or it was like those classic like don't kill anyone, and like if there isn't like a good counter to be able to check, like because I think that's one of the things they noticed around like Dishonored 1 and 2 was that there was an achievement for clean hands for not killing anyone, right?
Yeah.
But in Dishonored 2, they would tell you at the end of each level if you had killed anyone to make sure, so you knew you were like, oh fuck, I fucked that up, I better redo that level.
Yeah. Another one that comes to mind is like the Assassin's Creed, like that was like the first stressful achievement I ever got. Because this was way back in my early days of achievement hunting, where you have to like tap A on 80% of the cutscenes or whatever
That's
when
right.
they do the blip.
The little
and if you
things.
don't, like you just have to play the whole game over. Yeah, that's like a little makes me a little anxious, but I think what the sentiment I'm going for is I think as an achievement hunter, I don't like missable achievements, but from a attempting to be as unbiased as possible position, I think most missable achievements are well-designed achievements.
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I think that you definitely lose like when you have like choices in games and that kind of stuff. The real answer there is that the achievement should be related to making that choice and not what choice you make, if you get what I mean. Like
Sure.
like
Yeah,
that,
that's one way you could do it.
I think that's like that was one of the best things around the Walking Dead games is that I didn't have to. I've replayed those a lot because they've released a lot of versions of them, but I never went back and had to be like, oh well, I'm just going to undo this choice thematically because I need the other achievement for it. It was always like, oh, you got to this point, you finished the chapter, you got the achievement. Like again, the achievements in those games were bad because they were just boring. They were just like finish the chapters, but they didn't impact the way that I wanted to play that game, and I wasn't constantly thinking about them. And that's the kind of I try to really struggle to find a balance between achievements being additive and being subtracting from my enjoyment of video games.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment. It's like there's a fine line of like you get to a point too when you're completing a game where it's like there's definitely like a distinctive point where it's like, okay, I'm over this. Like
Yeah,
this
it's like
achievement
I'm
no,
literally just
ruined
following
it.
an optimal route guide because if I want to get all the achievements, I need to hit this, then this, then this, then this, and this. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh well, it's like, oh, the game provides you with this choice, but if you want to get this achievement or this weapon, you need to do this one, so do that one, and just don't worry about the rest of
Yeah.
it.
Well,
I still go ahead.
I
Cameron,
was
sorry.
going to quickly just interject. I like when I'm playing for achievements, I want achievements to be, to add some kind of experience to a game.
Sure.
Like Age of Empires 2 is probably my favorite example of it because look, a lot of the achievements are simply like complete this campaign, which is the case of a lot of games. But then there will be stuff that challenges your understanding of the game, challenges your speed, challenges your like technical ability. And you feel like you're fulfilling everything that the developer has put in this game for you.
Yeah.
I'm the same way where I want to experience the reason I achievement hunt is to try to experience everything about a game. I think there are some games that just by design, like you just have to play multiple times if you want to experience everything, and that's where missable achievements come in for me at least. Like in some cases, that's not true. Obviously, there's some missable achievements where it's like, well, that's kind of annoying, or like it could have been different. Like the one that I'm thinking of right now is in The Witcher 3. One of the DLCs, you have to like headshot at an enemy with a crossbow or something, but there's only one in the game in the entire DLC, and it's right at the beginning. So if you just didn't know that, like you just missed out and you have to replay the entire DLC. Right. That sucks. That's pretty lame. But I think more often, I think they're a necessary evil. I think
because if you want to have interesting challenges and things in your game, right, by definition, things are going to get missed or that they're going to be in certain points of games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind more narrative games that just go like, all right, based on that choice, you just get an achievement regardless of what choice.
Yeah, I think that
good or bad.
Because
at the end of the day, after that, we could play the exact same game 3 different ways and then have that discussion point after and still have the completion.
Yeah, and I think that the tricky bit is that, in my opinion, most games aren't worth replaying at the end of the day. I feel like most games aren't content rich enough to just, like The Witcher, for example, has quite a few narrative choices in it that you can make around quests, right? But that's an 80 to 100 hour game, easy.
That's a one and done.
Exactly, right? Like, that's the kind of things, like, there is no world in which I will go back and experience those different things. If they had branching achievements, I would do, like, cloud saving. I would do every trick I could to avoid having to replay the entire game just to see the small section where it's different. Now, if you had a game that was completely different, which, again, no developer would ever do this, because why would you create double the amount of content that only half the people are going to see, depending on their choices? But, yeah, I mean, that's why games go start narrow, bridge out, and then finish narrow, because they have to wrap it all up and they can't take into account every choice you've ever made across 3 games, if we talk about like Mass Effect, for example.
Branching off of that, that's the problem I have with like Lords of the Fallen, like Dark Souls and that
Yeah.
at the moment, because it's like I'm not the key demographic for that kind of player, because I don't want to go through multiple playthroughs.
The one thing I'll give them there is that they do have New Game Plus, and they do change some stuff between playthroughs, so there is some reason to go back to it, but I get what you mean, though.
Because like
Also-
Lords has 3 different endings, and all 3 of them are really interesting endings, but like I'm going to have to play at the least like 10 hours of content to get to that to that new information.
Also, about with Dark Souls, every subsequent playthrough is like immensely quicker than the previous
For sure,
one.
yeah.
Because you like, and it's really fun and satisfying to like rush through the game with like, you just spent 40 hours in this game and it beat the shit out of you, and now you've mastered it, and there's
now
something
you're
so
beating the shit out of it.
satisfying about getting back to the final boss in like a single sit down playthrough.
Yeah.
On
yeah.
New Game Plus and New Game Plus Plus.
Dark Souls in particular are very, very good with that. Like, going back and being
Awesome.
like, yeah, what's up, Capra Demon, motherfucker, and you just like 2-shot him.
Yeah.
It's one of the best
It's
feelings
sick.
in the world. Yeah, for sure.
It's sick. They do that really well.
I think that's why like I love what is the Sinner's Sacrifice for Redemption?
Yeah.
Like I've shouted out a few times on the show, just because you essentially can pick, all right, I want to go this particular boss. Like they all have the different mechanics, but it is essentially Dark Souls boss rush mode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do it once, and that's it.
I'm also kind of in that same boat though, Neo, where it's just like most of my games are one and dones. And that's probably not even because like I don't think the game is replayable and like didn't enjoy it enough to go back to it. It's just because I have 3,000 video games.
Also,
that
yeah,
still
like
have not
I
touched that
wanted to make it
play.
separate from the fact that I have
Yeah.
so many fucking video games that I want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. That is also a huge factor in everything that I play.
That's probably my biggest determining factor, is just like I would probably replay more games, because I used to replay games all the time back before I got like heavily into it. Like obviously when you're a kid, you have like 10 video games you hop between, and you just replay them till they're like the death out of them, and you still enjoy them.
Yeah.
I still enjoy them to this day. And then I got a little more into gaming, and I had like maybe 40 or 50 games, and I was buying games with my own money, and I was, but I was still play through Skyrim every now and again.
Sure.
But now I'm just like, get through the game, get to the next, get through the game, get to the next.
That's even been me with like remasters and re-releases. Like it needs to be a really quality game for me to go, well, actually, like, am I going to play a replay? It's like, oh, it's the 4K HD remaster of this game.
Yeah.
And I was like, how long ago did I play the original? Do I really want to go? Like, how different is this experience going to be? Especially given like I'm a big narrative gamer. Like that's a big push for me for the most part, of like finding out stories. And it's like, well, I know exactly every beat that's going to happen here, so I really would have to push myself through it potentially, depending on what the game is.
That's why I like that I play so many older games. Not even just retro, but like 360, because the game that comes to mind is the dirty word, the PlayStation word, is Last of Us 1 and 2.
Right.
And I bought The Last of Us 1 on PS3. Didn't touch it. It came out on PS4. I bought The Last of Us on PS4. Didn't touch it. Also, I don't feel too bad, because I bought Last of Us 3 for like $10 used, and I got Last of Us 2 for like $20 on like their whatever plan. But so anyway, didn't play them. And now they're like, here's The Last of Us Part 1 on the PS5, and it's actually like a relatively substantial like boost in performance and graphics and everything. So it's like I waited over a decade to play this game, and now I can play it in like the best way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Any closing thoughts before we move on to the news?
I'm a slave to my backlog.
Fucking tell me about it.
It's become a chore. I no longer enjoy video games. I'm just a cog in the machine.
Yep. But you know, every now and then a good release comes out and you ignore your backlog and just add to it. All right, Cameron, you've grabbed some news for us this week. What have you found?
All right. Starting off again, understandably, but sadly, Stalker 2 has been delayed again and will now be coming out in November, which is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting quarter.
It's quite a big delay, right?
I mean, it's 2 months, and they said it's just to, polish bugs and all that.
Sure.
But I'm just thinking the end of the year now, and it's going to be like Stalker 2, Avowed, Indie,
Indie's not coming out this
Flight
year.
Simulator
Indie's not
2024.
coming out this year. They haven't said anything about that game. There's no way it's coming out this year.
What game?
Indiana Jones.
Did I miss a game? Oh, Indie. When you said Indie, I'm like, what is it? Okay, Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's not coming out this year.
No, there's no way.
I'm with you on that one.
I saw the Stalker 2 delay, and I'm just like, oh man. It's been 5-6 times now?
It's been a few. It's been a big few.
Like I always I mean they're in a war zone. I totally understand.
Oh sure, like yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Play this
game development
so.
is hard enough as is.
Yeah. But yeah, they put out a statement saying that they'll be launching November 20th from the previously planned date of September 5th. We know people might be tired of waiting. We truly appreciate your patience. These 2 additional months will give us the chance to fix more unexpected anomalies, or simply bugs as you may call them. The game is shaping up to everything we envisioned. With the launch nearly here, we are incredibly excited to share more with you. To give you a taste of what's coming, we're thrilled to announce a developer deep dive video, which will be released on August 12th.
All right, that's good. Cameron, you want to turn to the mic?
I, for one,
turn to the mic a little bit. There you go.
Sorry.
That's good.
I, for one, love unexpected anomalies in my video games.
So
I say release it today.
Put it out.
Actually, speaking of which, I was playing Lords of the Fallen the other night. I need to get the clip so I can show Baron, but I jumped off. There's like this like dungeon kind of area with a pit in the center. I jumped off. Baron leveled us to like 500. So I've resorted now when Stubby's playing the game and I'm the co-op partner for his, I'll just fall off ledges to survive.
Right, because it's high level.
Instead of taking ladders. Ladders is a long way.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I jumped off a cliff unexpectedly, and then instead of it, you know how when you're on the ground, you just do a normal jump in like a Dark Souls, that kind of thing. It kind of just kept on like double jumping. And because my stamina bar was like it's like so big now, it was like 20 jumps just hopping around this room as a glitch. And it was, yeah.
All right.
I love bugs, man. Very unexpected anomalies.
Bugs in Souls games.
Cameron was being Bugs Bunny. Yeah, there we go. Title for the episode.
All right, that's enough. I'm out. Let's talk to you guys.
Hero Week, thanks. Yeah. Play me off. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Stalker 2. It is a bit of a shame it's been delayed because I was looking. I've been kind of looking over the releases for the end of the year and been like, oh, September looks like Stalker 2 is going to be good for that. But yeah, November is probably going to get quite packed.
This year feels like it's shaping up to be, if these games don't get delayed, like the end of 2021 when we had Forza, Age of Empires.
Yeah, a lot of
Halo,
it getting kind of just squished together. Yeah, I'm curious to see how successful they are.
All right, moving along. So I think this is still like a bit of a developing story, but video game actors confirm a strike action over AI. The SAG-AFTRA union has been in negotiation with major video game publishers for 18 months. They've essentially called for a strike action, which will began yesterday, but they want protections to, prevent the use of AI voices affecting it. There was some discussion regarding GTA 6 potentially being delayed because of this.
Oh, okay.
But I think Take-Two came out and said, no, that won't be the case.
Interesting.
So, yeah, essentially, I'm pretty sure it's the same kind of stuff that's going in animation, Matt, right? Preventing, voice actors from getting screwed over.
Basically, yeah, again, this is the SAG-AFTRA is everyone, right? So it's kind of anyone in the acting industry of voice or digital or whatever. Still always funny to me to read President Fran Drescher and just the nanny.
Is that really
yeah,
who the president was like after?
Yes, that is. Yeah,
I did not know that.
She's great.
That's insane. Anyway.
But
one of like Nikita's favorite people, Fran Drescher.
Yeah, she's great.
I want to listen to her give a statement. Honestly, I don't think I could keep.
She doesn't actually sound like that, right? That's very put on for the show.
I know, but I want her to.
I know.
Like, I just couldn't be able to make this like.
We won't do it, but you have to do it in the nanny voice. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like this was a discussion that came up at the last strike, right? Was around like AI use and people getting getting paid $500 once and then it being able to be used in AI and like TV shows and all that kind of stuff in perpetuity. And basically just like the death of the extra, really.
Well, I think like the last time we heard a proper discussion around like AI use was the finals.
Yeah, that's right. They used AI for the announcer voices, which was controversial for sure.
Did they really? That's crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Their reasoning for it was, if this was a live service game that's going to be constantly updated, they should be able to use AI to.
Yeah, and then all the voice actors came out and said that's bullshit.
That is bullshit.
It's absolute bullshit. And they're like, oh, it costs too much to get people in the studio. And it's like, bitch, we do recordings at our house all the time. Like, if you got pickup lines that we need to do, we literally record them in our home mics.
It's the one thing I think Blizzard does really well with Overwatch. Like getting them back to do like all the new voice lines and that whenever they're going
there's definitely like a level of talent there, and like the video game industry, especially in like terms of like voice talent. I mean, like there are so many recognizable names in the video game voice acting industry, right? I mean, you talk about like Laura Bailey or fucking Matt Mercer showing up everywhere, or Troy Baker, Nolan North back in the day,
I don't see people talk about like it feels like there's less of a blurred line between video game voice acting and acting now.
True, yeah, for sure.
Like just thinking like you got like Lance Reddick and that.
You definitely get like more celebrities and getting involved in games as they become a bigger piece of media.
What would be interesting? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, for sure. I was just going to say, like we are talking about like SAG-AFTRA here. Like these are like actors and Screen Actors Guild, like everybody in terms of like from cartoons to video games to movies to
So, what would be an interesting thing to see with like, because I don't think I'm in the camp of I don't think AI is going away.
No.
But I think there should be some checks and balances to not just like totally screw people. I think it would be interesting to see, and I'm sure somebody's already made the suggestion, is like, okay, company, you can use this person's AI likeness or AI voice or whatever, because it's convenient, you can just do it on the fly, but everything needs to be marked as this is AI, like it needs to be plastered all over, this is AI, and also every new like published voice line is a royalty to the person, the likeness of the person.
Yeah. I guess the part where the pointy end of the stick there where it gets tricky is like when you start making new voices with AI and you don't hire voice actors at all, and then it's like, okay, well, who did you like? What models did you train that AI on? And it's like, oh, we don't know because it's and then it becomes a question of like, well, whose voice is this? Who does it belong to?
Right.
There's so many discussions of that.
There's got to be metadata of that, right?
Well, not necessarily, right? That's the thing is that like depending on the model that they've used to build it, like it's kind of some of it just goes into like again like the lack of oversight there is into AI currently. Shit goes into a black box, no idea how it got trained, and like we saw this with YouTube recently, right? Where there was a lot of people who were trained with using like the captioning from YouTube videos, and some YouTubers were able to prove it based around some of the way that the stuff that was spitting out.
There was something that I saw the other day that one AI company had used like 1,600 of Marquez Brani's.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah, videos to train AI, and I don't know if it doesn't sit right with me. Like basically, a lot of these AI companies are just like it's public data and all that. Like it's public forum. Like maybe,
Yeah, and then
maybe
there's this other
right.
there's this other weird dilemma too, where it's like, and this might be getting too in the weeds of it, where it's like if you train the AI on whatever's out there. If you say, you have to pay me to use my stuff, well, the only people who can afford that mass amount of data ingestion would be super mega corps. And it's like, okay, do we want the only people who have the financial ability to do that being the only ones controlling AI and developing AI?
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'd much more trust, mom basement dweller developing an AI tool for something cool and passion projecty than I trust Bezos developing an AI.
True. Yeah. I mean, like look at Microsoft,
right?
Like there was I don't know, I don't think we had it in our story this week, but there was some big talk around AI this week at Activision Blizzard around them potentially using AI and stuff already and laying people off. It was kind of, I don't know how confirmed the reports were, but I was seeing it over Reddit earlier this week. It's just, yeah, like I think, like you said, Jake, like AI is here to stay, right? Like this isn't going away. Businesses are only going to get more invested into it as a cost saving measure at the very least. But they definitely, yeah, and things like SAG-AFTRA and like strikes and stuff like this are definitely, there needs to be things put in place to stop this from just taking over the industry completely.
Like I do want us to like move forward with AI in terms of everything just feels like a replacement at the moment. Like AI just replacing jobs and all that. I want it to be used as a tool to further people's careers and have some like ethical AI.
Yeah.
Like,
but unfortunately the companies who are controlling this stuff aren't ethical to start with. So it's just like, yeah, it was never going to be that, unfortunately. So yeah, I definitely support the strike, like 100%. They should be doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, so apparently they've reached agreements on like a lot of other issues on stuff, but the AI stuff is really the sticking point.
Yeah.
Around like being able to use their performances for AI training and things like that, or yeah, I don't know. It's exactly. Yeah, when it basically said that we're not going to use consent to a contract that allows companies to abuse AI to the detriment of our members. Which is like, yeah, fair enough, right? Like how comfortable would you be signing an agreement that basically says, hey, after you do this performance, we're going to use this performance to put you out of work in the future? Like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
AI is such a weird ethical thing too, because I'll see stuff that's AI, and like it's like a devil and an angel on my shoulder. I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. Like AI did that. That's so cool. Like, look who we're gonna be. And then I'm also like, but that's unethical, and they're stealing people's work, and they're stealing creativity and plagiarism, and I'm like, it's like, is it cool or do I hate it? I don't know.
I mean, it can be both, right? I think that, like, as a thought experiment, as something that we do is really, really cool. But I think in reality, it's just going to be a real big.
I think it's
problem.
not. It's probably not so much. Is it cool or do I hate it? It's more so like, it's cool, and I feel guilty that I think it's cool.
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, if it's something that's like cool and is ethical, like I'm struggling to think of an example.
Well, the thing is, I can't think of a single example where this would make sense. Where it's like, oh well, because the only reason a company is going to use AI for anything is to not pay someone to do that work, right? Yeah. AI art. It's like, well, we don't want to pay a level designer. AI voiceovers. We don't want to pay voice actors. Like fucking AI scripting. Like it's like we don't want to pay devs, or we want to pay devs less, or we want to have less devs on board, or whatever. Like,
well, like the other stuff, like artists losing their jobs, the voice actors losing their jobs, the narrative and all that. From what I've seen in terms of articles and all that, they're being used as a tool to further the careers of the narrator and make it easier for them to.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna pitch it.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I've seen some. I don't know if you guys are fans of YouTuber and streamer Doug, but I've seen some of the crazy stories he can get AI to concoct up, and they're hilarious and entertaining. And I feel like you could easily use AI to start replacing narrative as well too. If you just spun it through, because again, it's not so much always eliminate. Like for art, I can see it as an elimination, which sucks to say, But for development, coding, I could see it as more of a reduction because you kind of need somebody to babysit it and
Sure.
correct
Yeah.
it. But you could definitely reduce how many people you have with it. Same with
assuming you
narrative.
can
I
be
can see that.
trusted, right? But
Yeah, I can see that application to narrative as well. Then it's like, why do you need 4 story writers when you could use 2 story writers who are using AI and bouncing ideas off the AI? You know what I mean?
And
like that's where I see that.
this, like this, it'll be reduction and replacement all over the industry in the most creative fields because the AI can use the existing creative stuff to make new stuff. But
So how do we use AI to replace CEOs?
well, that is actually, funnily enough, is probably the right answer at the end of the day, considering CEOs are supposed to make decisions.
AGI is how we replace the CEOs. A couple years off of that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
I think Sam Altman says we're like 4 or 5 years off of that, but we're getting there. Before 2030, we'll have AGI, and that is when we can replace CEOs.
What's going to happen is Sam is basically going to reveal that he's actually been replaced by an AI several years beforehand, and the fact that no one noticed meant that it's good enough to go out to the public.
There we go.
All right.
What do we
Want to
got?
move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. So Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is reportedly hitting Game Pass on August 8th. So Modern Warfare 3 just joined yesterday. I've downloaded and started playing that.
Me too.
Yeah, so executive writer Extras1S, who has a strong track record of revealing upcoming Game Pass titles, essentially, predicted that Modern Warfare 3 would be joining the service. That confirmed to be true, and then is claiming now that Crash Bandicoot will hit Game Pass in August. Not much more of an update from that, but
He also said that they're going to be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and the Spyro trilogy are going to be coming sometime soon as well.
Percy really pulled my leg the other day, but Spyro was like $25, so it was just
good deal, yeah.
You know what? Oh, okay. Free games, 25.
Neat.
Are any of us going to play? Have any of us played the Insane Trilogy?
I started it on PS4 when it first came out, and then I sold it and bought the Xbox copy and haven't touched it. No, that's not true. I dived it.
Oof, you dived it? Man, that game is rough as a controller.
The Insane Trilogy? No.
Yeah.
Come on. It's not 4.
Well, okay, it's not 4. I will give you that, but there is a lot of actually maybe I should play that game. Oh no, it's those time trial relics that really get me.
I really don't care. Crash Bandicoot is way too hard for me, and I don't know why I started it.
Yeah.
If I can beat Tony on Project 8, I can beat anything.
That is 100% true. This is true. That's the mountaintop from which you look down and be like, yeah, it's fine. I got this.
My PA completion is just like everything else, just like, yeah, you ain't got nothing on this.
Exactly. You look down from K2 and you're like, nah, no other mountain fucking measures up.
Yep.
Problem is, I don't have any nostalgia for these kind of games.
See, I do. That's the thing, is I have serious nostalgia, and it pulls me every time I see this. I'm like, I could start that game. I was like, Crash Bandicoot 1 is the very first video game I ever played in my entire life. Maybe I should go and revisit that.
Have you not started it?
No, I haven't started the Insane Trilogy because I was like, I've looked at that.
You could do it. No, you could do it easily. Maybe not easily.
Like, you can do
with
Halo
some
MCC
effort.
in like 2 weeks.
This is gonna sound like a fucking podcast challenge, isn't it? All right,
with some effort, you could do it.
When it comes into Game Pass, I might actually start it because I don't actually own it. So, all right.
I mean, that's the thing too. Like, it's always going to be something you can chip away at.
True.
I've seen what you've completed,
yeah.
And I've seen other people complete Insane Trilogy, and I've looked at the list. No, you got it in the bag.
All right, let's do it.
If you want to talk 4, we can have a discussion.
Yeah, 4 is rough.
I don't know if I could do 4. I want to do 4. I don't know if I could do 4. But Insane Trilogy in the bag.
All right. So Humble.
It's only like 3.6 ratio.
Yeah, because it's a 3. Yeah. It's not too bad actually, but I know that those time trial relics are gonna make me pull my hair out.
Nobody that I know has done.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't know. I don't think I have anyone on my list who's completed it.
But I mean, like 550 people.
I'll have to do it along with you then. Because I dived it and I haven't had a good reason to go back yet. But maybe if you start on it on Game Pass, I'll have to do it.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll have to talk about our journey.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea, actually.
I like it. I'll take a break from Gamecube.
I lie. I have a couple of people who finished it.
I don't know. I gotta check mine. I'm sure I do. Like, I've seen so many people play and finish that game.
I mean, I have a lot of fond memories of that game.
Insane Trilogy. I have
Yeah, earn 30 relics gold or better on Crash Bandicoot Warped. That's going to be a fun
I
one.
have 6 people who've completed
Okay, fuck
it.
it. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. What's the ratio? What's the completion?
Always Lego and Crash
3%?
Bandicoot, but you can't put
3%.
Lego
No,
Nation
4,000
Empires.
people. That's heaps of fucking people to finish that game.
Easy, dude.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
All
Free.
right.
Practically free.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Almost a baby game.
Well, okay, let's maybe pull it back. Pull it back just a little bit. When I come back and you can see I have bags under my eyes, I'm like, I got stuck on the first fucking boss. I can't beat Papu Papu in the very first game. The trick where you jump on his chair when he does the spinning thing in the old game doesn't work anymore. I remember those games all the way through, actually.
I think they kept a lot of the tricks. Like one of the bosses, I don't remember which one. I think it's in Crash 3, maybe 2, where you stand in the corner and it's a god spot.
Oh, right. Perfect.
Like it's the boss that sends like the stuff at you.
Yep.
You can just stand at the corner and it's a god spot. They kept that in.
Fuck, okay, I'm going to play this. All right. Cameron, move on quickly before I make any other commitments.
All right, cool. Indie publisher Humble Games has reportedly... Okay, so first off, it was reportedly closed.
Yeah.
And then second of all, it was reported that it was restructuring.
Mm-hmm.
But all 36 employees had been laid off. So Humble Games, not to be confused with Humble Bundles, are separate companies.
Mm-hmm.
They said they were coming out and restructuring their operations, but the business is not closing. In these challenging economic times of indie game publishing, Humble Games has made the difficult but necessary decision to restructure our operations, the company said in a statement. This decision was not made lightly, involved much deliberation and careful thought with the goal of ensuring the stability and support of our developers and ongoing projects. Additionally, the restructuring of operations at Humble Games will have no impact on operations at Humble Bundle. We're acutely aware of the profound impact this decision has on our team members at Humble Games and deeply empathize with with everyone affected, it continued.
Yeah,
Our team's contributions have been world-class and invaluable, supporting the launch of our game since we started publishing in 2017. We committed to navigating this transition with as much empathy and understanding as possible. Supporting our development partners and assisting former team members remains our top priority. We're committed to making this transition as smooth as possible for everyone involved. Thank you for your support and compassion during this challenging period. It's deeply appreciated. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute.
Go for it, because this is some bullshit.
So, there have been a number of layoffs over, I want to say, like the last 18 months of Humble. This was like the third and final one, essentially. I'm pretty sure they axed 35% of the staff the last time. I can't remember what the first one was.
We've had a few news stories about them, yeah.
Yeah. It's been a recurring issue. Essentially, all 36 employees logged in 9 a.m. the other morning and just, that was it. No prior warning, nothing. News came pretty much through the socials, and it's bullshit because a lot of developers now are coming out and saying like, all right, we had no heads up on this. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's like, hey, you're publishing our games. What the fuck? Yeah.
And like Humble have published some really, heavy hitters in terms of indies. You've got Unpacking. I need to get the list in front of me.
Yeah, like so, especially like if
There's
you
like
look at the
41 titles on Xbox, I think.
If you look at the Game Pass, like the Game Pass indie list, like a lot of those are Humble games.
Yeah. So they just released Bow Path the Teal Lotus, which, about a week ago, I think was doing relatively well. But then, like, a lot of their marketing has been taken up by the fact that Humble have shut down. So, they've lost that week one marketing to it. There's like Rolling Hill, Make Sushi, Make Friends, Coral Island, which was done through Kickstarter, put out a statement yesterday regarding their Switch port, because a lot of people were complaining about the silence around a Switch port. And
also the most recent update as well, because they're not doing the console port, they're not even sure what's going on with that.
Yep. So they lost all their back-end systems other than Steam. So Steam, they can push out their 1.1 update, but every other system, they got no way of updating those console ports. You've got other like notable titles like Mineko's Night Market, Stray Gods, While the Iron's Hot, like a lot of Game
Signalis, Moonscars, like so much stuff that's been on Game Pass
like really recognizable titles.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that pisses me off is I'm seeing a lot of stuff through Twitter and that from like apparently they're trying to keep them the down low, but they have gone with like a third party marketing agency now to support these upcoming titles. But I think if you've signed a contract with a publisher and all that, and they've laid off their entire staff, then that's bullshit. Like you think of how much of a cut you're giving to these publishers and all that, they need to be able to support these titles and like massive titles like these. Like if somebody like Humble can't survive in this day and age, what hope do the rest of us have?
Yeah.
Like for an indie marketplace, it's just like Slay the Spire, Wizard of Legend, like really big titles.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, they say they were going to continue to support, but like with what staff? What does that actually mean nowadays?
So yeah, laid off all the staff, using a third party now, and the third party is hiring for publisher marketing roles.
Oh, so who's left? Like, what do you firing all your staff? Like, obvious. Well, they have to have the president, the CEO or president or whoever, right? Like,
Yeah.
how does it even? That won't even work. Or like, is Humble Games a subsidiary of Humble Bundle?
So,
They're
Humble
separate.
Games is a subsidiary of IGN's, like Ziff Davis, that whole thing.
So IGN fired.
Basically, yes. IGN basically just gave them the axe.
Okay. I was like, there's so because
They're essentially like a shell corporation
right?
at this point, right? There's no one working there, and any deals that they have are being farmed, like any obligations they have are being farmed off to a third party contractor, which is crazy.
Like IGN games.
Which I wouldn't feel comfortable signing.
No, fuck no. Yeah, exactly. If I had a game coming out being published by this person, it's like, oh yeah, we just laid off our entire in-house staff, and don't worry, we'll have a third party that we're paying probably half as much to. Don't worry, they'll take care of it. And it's like, well, what happens if I have a problem? And then you hear nothing because there's no one to talk to there anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're talking through seemingly, apparently, IGN, who's now talking through this third-party marketing. I
was wondering what IGN's actual statement was the other day regarding Humble Games, but I don't think I've seen it yet.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
I know there's definitely some people worried about delistings and stuff. They haven't indicated that that's going to be happening, but I would just keep an eye out.
That's what I thought. Like, I saw that too. People were freaking out, like, potential delisting. I'm just like, these are too big of games. Like, Slay the Spire is probably still selling fucking, like, hotcakes. And
I don't think we'll have a situation where games get delisted. It's more, my worry is like Coral Island and all that. These games will stop getting updated.
Yeah, they're basically.
I'm bummed about what was in the pipeline for Humble was also Wizard of Legend 2.
Yeah.
Yep. There's Wizard of Legend 2. What else was there?
Monaco 2. Never Alone 2, which looked really good. They shot a trailer for that a little while ago. And Lost Skies apparently is this kind of stuff they've announced. And
Burrow Puff of the
very curious what's happening with those now. I mean, I'm assuming they still have existing agreements. They'll still come out at some stage. But, like...
Yeah, obviously, like, the Humble Games was just the publisher. Like, I'm sure the developers are, Wizard of Legend 3 developers are going to figure something out.
Yeah, they're still making the games, right? Like, that is the one thing, is that, like, this is only the publishing arm.
There's Billy Bust Up, if you've seen that on social media.
Yes. Yeah.
That one's pretty cute. What else? Monaco 2. Monaco 2, sorry.
Yeah, Monaco 2, yeah. I need to finish the first one.
Did they release the DLC for Stray Gods yet? Orpheus?
No. I don't know if they did for Xbox. If they did...
It might just be on Steam.
It might just be Steam, I think, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
All right, what else we got?
So there was there. Let me just go back to it. I'll quickly just breeze through the other ones. So Ubisoft... Did anybody see the Ubisoft letter to the Japanese community?
Yes, I've read the letter, yeah.
I read like the first of the 4 pages, and then I was just like, I'm over this.
Yeah,
this is weird.
Very PR.
The whole thing
Ubisoft,
felt very weird.
Yeah.
So Ubisoft just published a letter to the Japanese community to address what it concerns around some elements in promotional materials for Assassin's Creed Shadows. They posted like a 4-page lengthy statement basically around the online discourse around is it Yusuke?
Yusuke?
Yes, Yasuke. Yes. Now you said it, and now I can't think of it.
I've only seen it written. I haven't heard the name, so I was like,
Hold up, I got to see it written. I can tell you how to pronounce it.
Yeah, basically just put out a PR statement saying intention has never been to present any of the Assassin's Creed games,
Yasuke.
including Shadows, as a factual representation of history.
Really? So
Dude,
Leonardo da Vinci didn't build a big flying machine or hidden blades for a secret order of assassins? Color me surprised.
Yeah. That whole article is just like, yeah, I got to the part where they're talking about, like, we don't intend to ever make anything historically accurate. I'm like, wasn't that like a big selling point of what you guys were doing too, though?
Yeah.
Like making things historically accurate, and now you're like, we've never intended to ever do that. What are you talking about?
It's like, yeah,
I'm
we're the
wondering
Black
if Shadows
Samurai.
comes out with their what's that separate mode that like runs you through this?
Oh, they're like exploration, history, discovery mode. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like, too, it's like, you're claiming that, first off, obviously, I'm in favor of the character, whatever, it's cool. But, like, you're claiming that we never intended to make any historical accurate representations. And the character's based off of a real person.
That's
a pretty tough sell.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tough sell.
Yeah. You literally took a real person and was like, hey, this is the main character. This is one of the main characters.
And then they're like, we didn't ever, this was for fun fictional purposes only ever. We never wanted any historical accuracy. It's like, well, okay. I don't believe you, but sure. But again, the character's obviously fine. People are crazy. People are working out. I don't get it.
I just looked at the release date for Shadows as well, November 15th.
Yep.
Oh god.
Right, November's going to be packed.
Yep.
Dude, I still need to play Mirage, and which I know is like a whole big bun.
I
a whole jumble of okay.
I think Mirage is fine.
Yeah, it's a whole big bundle of okay, which is okay. I like okay games.
Me too.
I was just having a conversation with a friend earlier today that everyone needs to play an objectively trash game so that they can learn to appreciate games that are just okay.
Everyone is required to play Pimp My Ride on the 360 so they can at least use that as their lowest barometer of video games.
No, I raise you. I see your Pimp My Ride, and I raise you at Two Worlds 2.
Oof. Yeah. Two Worlds 1 was not great either, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I tried to do Pin My Ride this year, but that just don't work.
Yeah, that's...
I need to figure it out. I mean this is the highest compliment. Mirage plays like a double A inspiration of what Assassin's Creed used to be.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Great. That sounds perfect.
You know what? And that's what I like about it too. It's short and sweet.
I mean, I think realistically, I probably will play Shadows depending on what the completion time is on it. You know, as long as they don't do a Valhalla or make it like 200 hours. But
I didn't even play that.
Right. But I probably would like. I think the ninja aspect, like here's my main thing about Assassin's Creed, right? Is they were like, okay, we're finally going to Japan, but only one of the, but it's like, but you have the choice to play as a ninja or a not ninja, and you're like, motherfucker, this is an Assassin's Creed game. Like, are you kidding me? Like I wouldn't care if, I don't care who the main character is because I just play the game because I just don't give a shit, right? But it's like, it is just funny to me where they were like, you could play the like a brand new assassin character who is a ninja, or you could play a samurai. And I was like, okay, I know that Assassin's Creed has taken some wild swings over the years and changed from what it used to be. But if you said to me back in 2007, they were like, yeah, so they're going to do a Japanese version of this game, but you get to go in there as a samurai and just fuck shit up. And I'd be like, oh, so not Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, man. I mean, and that just comes down from the we'll call the open world trilogy of the games.
Sure.
Like the Origin, Odyssey, Val. Like those got so far away to me from stealth. Those are just action games anyway. Like they were glorified Ghost of Tsushima, all of them, or maybe Ghost of Tsushima was glorified those three. I don't know. And so like that's what I'm picturing when I picture playing as Yusuke. It's just like, okay, so I'm playing Assassin's Creed of Tsushima.
Yeah. And I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of not great comparisons between this game and Ghost of Tsushima. That I think is really going to hamstring it. But I'm interested because I mean it is the thing that everyone has been waiting for fucking ever.
Ghost of
Ubisoft just keep
Tsushima.
shooting themselves in the foot. They could have made a PvE Sea of Thieves like years ago.
Yeah.
They could have made Assassin's Creed Japan.
They always
years
do
ago.
seem like they're behind the ball, right? They're always just like, they just always miss the mark in terms of like.
Ghost of Tsushima is the best Assassin's Creed game.
Exactly. That's kind of what, yeah, I think I would tend to agree. I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah. The best Assassin's Creed.
making a sequel
Because
to
it
that,
is literally
right?
just Assassin's Creed. Like, if you played it, it's so...
Yeah.
Like,
it's so inspired by Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Quintessential checklist game. Open world checklist game.
All right. I'll quickly finish this off with the last two articles. So, despite 90% of its sales now digital, Capcom claims it won't stop producing physical games.
Yay.
They predict 93% of its sales will be digital this year.
Yeah, but I think a big part of that is the Japanese market have there's still a little bit of interest in keeping physical that I think that being a Japanese company probably helps.
And the Jake market also is interested in
Oh,
keeping
for sure,
things
yeah.
physical.
Massive fucking weebs and nerds. Oh, yeah, exactly. I did figured that was just implied. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes on to say that most major titles will be physical and digital, but then some smaller digital titles such as Kinitsu Gami: The Path of the Goddess, which released as a digital only title
Makes sense.
this month.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then the last thing is there is a bit of speculation going on that Xbox may be introducing a cloud-only option Game Pass tier.
Yeah.
I don't want Microsoft. I don't trust. I'm a Microsoft 365 administrator in my personal world, and I don't. But licensing SKUs with Microsoft are a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're doing it on Game Pass, and I don't like it. Like, stop, please, Microsoft, stop. You don't need more licensing SKUs. It's the worst.
Yeah, they
literally. I was on a call with a Microsoft engineer, and we were trying to talk about licensing, and they're like, "Well, you don't have a licensing SME on this call." I'm like, "Why do you guys need licensing SMEs, dude? You know it's bad.
That's
when you need
crazy.
A subject matter
Microsoft are
on
literally
licensing.
job creators with this their SKUs. That's crazy to think about.
I was like, "What do you mean licensing SME?"
Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, pretty much the rest of this article was like there might be return of a potential family subscription option. And yeah, just the introduction of a potential cloud-only Game Pass tier.
Which I think would make sense. Again, there was talk around that later this year they were going to be allowing you to play your owned games through cloud. I know that.
I definitely think it makes sense in terms of like getting people into the ecosystem, not having to worry about the console. But
yeah, sure. Like if you already have a big library of Xbox games and you don't have Game Pass, which would be a little bit strange, but like if you just were like, I just want it for cloud because I just want to play the things I own and just make it more portable, having a cheap add-on to your plan makes some sense.
I mean, it'd still be like cloud-only Game Pass though. You still just get a subscription and just have a whole bunch of access.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but cloud-only is kind of interesting.
Makes me wonder like what the section of the market for like Google Play Pass and Apple
Arcade, yeah,
that kind of stuff is. Because you've got like Netflix are now doing games. You've got did Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon were doing a thing with Luna. Yeah.
Yeah. Has Luna ever taken off? Or
No, not really. No.
Okay. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I think to your point, Jake, their fucking messaging has already been shocking. It's only going to get worse.
It's terrible. And like, I mean, what you're seeing around Twitch, or not Twitch, but like Twitter, it's like the most valid point is like, what happens to your play it day one with Game Pass message now? Like you can't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's unless you say play it day one with
Game Pass Ultimate.
Game Pass Ultimate.
That'd be Game Pass
which
Ultimate.
is,
That's all it's gonna be.
I guess, but it's just like you're just causing confusion. Like you're confusing me. Think about what you're doing to mom and dad who are buying little Jimmy an Xbox for Christmas.
I'm just glad they haven't taken day one games away.
That was going to be my question. Was that like, again, we kind of talked about this the other week of like, does this, when they say no more day ones, is that no more day ones like guaranteed? Like, are they still going to be day ones? You just don't know if they are going to be or not. And is that only first party day ones? Is that, because, we're still seeing a lot of like indie games come day one to Xbox on Game Pass. Does that mean that doesn't happen? That means you have to have Ultimate now, or or you get them like a couple weeks later or whatever. Like what that actually means in terms of like when those things get added to regular Game Pass or whatever. Yeah, the messaging's fucked. Like they need the fact they need a flowchart for this.
Somebody at M365 joined the Xbox team, and they need to put them back.
Yeah,
put them back on the M365 team.
Everyone needs a SME to just send to them. Anytime you open the app, it actually pops up a little window, and you get directly, and they'll explain it to you. That's actually another tier to actually get the explanation for the tiers. Is actually another tier you need to pay for. So
that wouldn't surprise me.
Enhanced support, yeah.
It's just so ugly. That's the biggest thing. It's like just aesthetically, like I wouldn't be the one wanting to try to sell this because I'm just like, I know this is stupid. This looks ugly and bad and like you can do tiers, sure. I guess do bronze, silver, gold, or whatever the hell. Like it wasn't too bad when there was Game Pass. You had Game Pass Core, Game Pass Ultimate, and then even still you had your console only Game Pass SKU and your PC only Game Pass SKU. Like that was like okay, I get it. And now it's just like this is a dumpster fire. This is a disaster of.
Like you
what
said,
about like the FTC coming out and saying like it? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right. The FTC being like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? You said you weren't.
Why are you changing this?
Yeah. The one interesting thing is that I was just thinking about it. Like for us, we obviously are enthusiasts in the space, and we know about this kind of stuff, and we're struggling with it. But chances are we're all just going to pay for Ultimate anyway, so it actually doesn't matter what's below that. We'll pay for the top one. So the people who will be most affected, who might be interested in the other tiers, are going to also be the least informed about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, obviously, I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna continue paying for Game Pass Ultimate, but it still is just like, I don't know. I feel like some like weird emotional time investment in this company, and to see them do stupid shit, it's still just like, come on, man.
Yeah, I get you.
Big companies doing stupid shit. Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Companies are doing stupid shit. Make it better fucking duo. Yeah.
I've given you so much time and money of mine that I'm just like, don't make dumb decisions, dude. Stop.
It's just it always comes down to the messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get a straight line.
Microsoft hasn't had good messaging for a while now, to be fair. They've been struggling in that department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to myself, like day one too, like how many of these actual games are actually day one anymore? Like what's the actual meaning in the word change to? Because you think how many of these indies are just games that were popular on Steam that have come out after the fact,
and they've been ported across, so that's day one for Xbox or whatever.
It's again, day one for
there's so much like ambiguity around their messaging that it just makes it basically them being like, "You'll get what you fucking get. Give us some money."
You know, and I was having this conversation the other day with somebody, and it was just kind of like, I feel like Game Pass also, just as a platform, is like kind of puttering out and like the hype. Like I used to sing the praises of Game Pass. I was like, dude, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Game Pass is awesome. I love Game Pass. And now I'm just like, it's just the sentiment is like, it's just kind of it's kind of whatever. And I just like think this is going to continue to further just push Game Pass down.
I mean, I don't know. Like I see what you're saying, but I don't think it actually matches up with reality in a lot of ways, if you get what I mean.
Maybe, but I mean, I know for me, like, again, I used to tell people all the time, like, you should get Game Pass. It's such an awesome deal. Like, even if you have a computer, you should just get Game Pass. And now I'm kind of just like, I don't think I could tell that the price that they're raising it to, the price now that I have to pay for Game Pass Ultimate, I couldn't tell anyone to. I don't think I could be like, yeah, you should definitely spend $20 a month. Like, and then and then I don't also want to try to explain to somebody all the SKUs. Yeah. Where it's like, yeah, you can get, if you just want to play online, you can get Game Pass Core. If you want some of the Game Pass games, you can get like the Game Pass Core Plus. And then if you want to play the day one games, you can get this. But if you want to play PC games, you need Ultimate. And if you want to play PC and Xbox games, but you don't want day one games, you got to pay for, you know, the jerk me off package. Like, I don't fucking.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So I'm done trying to. I'm no longer a Game Pass salesman for Microsoft, an unpaid Game Pass salesman. Like I just can't be anymore.
Yeah.
I can't tell my friends to spend $20 a month, and I'm not gonna bother to explain SKUs to people.
It's going to be really awkward 5 minutes from now when I praise Game Pass for all the great games.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, actually, we'll transition into Game Pass updates because this is a point I wanted to make as well, Cameron. So do you want to go through?
It still adds great games. Okay, I'm not going to deny that.
This month has been the best month Game Pass has had in ages.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
The only other competing service I can really think of is like Amazon with their when they do like Prime Days and they give out a bunch of free games.
Yeah. As a PlayStation Plus Premium subscriber, it is pretty sick.
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus Premium, all the stuff you get there too. Like,
I think
you just don't get the day one games.
The only thing PlayStation has like what their version of the gold membership was, and they're still
they have PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Essentials, and then PlayStation Premium.
I'm still getting like bangers every month, like for free.
Yeah, they're pushing, and yes, and PlayStation Plus, you don't need Premium or Essentials for just PlayStation Plus. I think maybe you need Essentials. I don't know. Again, excuse. Yes, they still give you 4 free games a month, and they are usually like pretty
sick.
worth it. Pretty sick games.
I think like
and the games they add also
long ago.
Yeah, recently. And then the games they add to their like subscription model like catalog, they're like 200 some games, are also all like pretty banging. Like you can play Dark Souls 2020, and you can play like Spider-Man Miles Morales and like Horizon games and God of War. Like they kind of knocked it out of the park for sure.
All right, games that have joined Game Pass this week. We have
I don't know how wrong I am about my Game Pass hate.
Magical Galaxy added July 16th. Flock added July 16th. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, which me and Matt will talk about, July 18th. Dungeons of Hinterberg, July 18th. And Kimetsu Gami: Path of the Goddess, July 18th. As well as Modern Warfare 3 that got added, what was it, 2 days ago?
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Yeah. Not missing anything?
Nope, that's everything that's come out in the last sort of 2 weeks or so.
Stuff leaving: Short Hike, Train Sim World 4, and Vember. I highly recommend you jumping on Vember and Short Hike and ignoring Train Sim World 4.
Yep, totally agree. We've also got our monthly theme that we're running, which is nearly there, where basically you play a game that you have 80% of the achievements in already, and you just kind of dropped or couldn't finish for whatever reason and go back to. So clean up those nearly completed games, get them off your backlog, try not to start any fucking new stuff. Which I'm doing terrible at. I'm a terrible example of, but yeah, want to hear some progress. I know that fucking Raw Dogger, as opposed to Natalator, has been absolutely destroying his iGames recently. He's got so many mentions and completions later on from stuff that he's just cleaning up. So he's doing a great job. He also gives us money, which means that we're contractually obligated to speak about him. But yeah, let's get into what we've been playing. I'll start with just a couple of things really quick. I started Digimon Survive. We talked last week about what we were going to buy on the sale. I bought Digimon Survive and the Sensoro Gold Edition for the reboot. I've started both of those. I basically dived them. I got a couple of achievements in each. Just because I'm like, I'm going to buy these and I'm going to start them so I have to play them so they don't just end up in my backlog. I'm trying to be really, really good about it. Digimon Survive is like visual novel meets tactics game. But tactics is like you can basically auto battle it and make it like super easy if you want or whatever. So the visual novel is kind of the main thing. Story wise, it's kind of standard anime story stuff. Very, very. I'm still like in the prologue, so you know. And then Saints Row. Oof, I did like the first couple of missions, and man, the tone of this is. We'll see. I'll maybe report back next week on how I feel about it, but it's not off to an amazing start.
It's co-op, isn't it?
It does have co-op, but apparently co-op can break some of the achievements. So
it's just really cringy, right? That's what I've kind of heard.
It's very cringy. Yeah, so far I was just like,
isn't it just Saints Row for millennials?
Yes, that was the joke, was that it was essentially being Gen Z or whatever. Yeah, it is. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting at the moment, and I'm rapidly feeling like I'm too old for this shit anymore.
I feel like I can make this joke because I'm usually seen with these crowds, but it's Saints Row for blue-haired people.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get. I was gonna make a joke that was gonna get me canceled, but yes, let's go with that one. I think that like it plays okay so far. Like it's very standard stuff, but it's just does not have any. Well, again, I'm only like 2 missions in, so I don't know yet. But it does not have any of the Saints Row charm in it yet. And I'll talk about my other games a little bit as we kind of go through them.
It'd be interesting to see, like, when you finish it off, whether you think it was bad enough for a studio to close over.
Sure. Yeah, I've also got the DLC, which I hear is a little bit better, so I will play those as well and report back. But I got quite a bit of a journey ahead of me for both of those games. Cameron, you want to kick off with something? What do you got?
Do we want to talk about the games we'll both play this
Yeah,
week,
let's do that. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll quickly mention Flintlock. So based after your discussion last week, I decided that I want to start this as well because I thought Flintlock would be a good game. I've been doing Lords of the Fallen Stuber still, so Flintlock, similar realm in terms of I would say a Souls light.
Very light, but it definitely has a lot of Souls influenced for sure.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it. I think this is like probably one of those AA games that will reach my Game of the Year list.
I think so too, actually. It might be towards the bottom of the list, but then depends on what else comes out this year. But so I finished it. I finished it last night. It took me almost exactly 15 hours. I enjoyed this. Like it has a little bit, like the start is a little bit rough. Like getting used to how the game plays is kind of like it's a bit ropey. But once you start getting like maybe a couple hours in, you get a couple of abilities. You get like you can't start getting you filling out your weapons and kind of putting together some sort of a build. It really comes together in a way that works pretty well. My issues are with this game is the platforming and the combat, which are again two big fucking points for this game. Here's one I was like, oh, my only issue is like 90% of the game. Is like the combat is really not tight enough. It definitely feels way too floaty, and like your attacks sometimes have impact, sometimes they don't. And enemies don't telegraph very well. Like they telegraph their unblockable attacks, but regular attacks can just kind of come out of nowhere. And it kind of feels like with a game that has, like, let me put it this way. I don't think I parried more than 10 times the entire game. I think the parry system is just not good in this game. The game is like, you need to have like a weighty kind of like again, not everything has to be Sekiro in terms of like its parry feel, but like the parry timing stuff needs to be more significant.
I feel like it's too tight for some of the bosses.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. It's almost worthless in using against bosses, to be honest. You might as well just go in and try and overpower them.
I'll use Ramahara as an example because that's probably the boss that I've struggled with the most. Easy sailing for the most part up until that point.
Yeah.
Like not that many deaths in terms of it. As soon as that, it was massive difficulty spike.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you should be like doing the side quest stuff as you go along.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely try and do as much of the side quest stuff as you can because you need to be pretty well leveled for the bosses.
Yeah. Which I think is my mistake was that I've essentially been like mainlining it.
Yeah.
I don't find any issues with the platforming, and I think the level design is good enough except for the like mine section bit. Finding myself getting a little bit confused in that, just trying to like there's some parts in this game where I'm doing things that I definitely shouldn't be able to do.
That was gonna be my point.
Like just bouncing up a wall just to clear the section because I can't find the right path to go in the mines.
Yeah, the platforming itself is, and this is a kind of a problem I had with another Crab's Treasure, right? Where it was like the platforming aspects of this are a little too vague in terms of like clearly marked. Like in Dark Souls, chances are you're like, okay, that is visual. I will not touch that. That is literally just to look at. I can't jump over there. Like platforms are very, very clearly defined. Whereas this is like you have a double jump and a dash, and so your ability to get to places. And this was even a problem when the game came out, was that when people were dashing like out of bounds, it was breaking their games and stuff because like there's quite a bit of maneuverability that you can have, but there's so many times when I've done a double jump and I've been like, I don't know if I'm actually going to grab that ledge or not because the platforming is just so rough that I'm like, sometimes you grab the ledge, sometimes you bounce off it and fall off. Like there seems to be like a real level of inconsistency. Visually, I like how it looks, and I like the rift stuff and the flying around and teleporting and stuff. And I like having the freedom of movement, but it's just not quite as dialed in as it kind of needs to be, I think.
From what I've played so far, it doesn't feel like a game that's going to be like, this is breathtaking, like amazing, I need to play this.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable. Like it's probably like the finest kind of AA experience that I've had recently. where it's like it's enjoyable enough that I keep on going back to it and wanting to go back to it.
If I'm going to be reductive, the way it sprang out to me was Plague Tale meets God of War. Where it's like you have that Plague Tale level of like fidelity and some branching path stuff and a little bit of open, like Plague Tale 2 in particular, like slightly more open world, slightly more like ways to tackle environment, but very like clear pathing in terms of objectives. And then kind of, you have your sort of like over the shoulder axe based, timing dodging based combat that has like a bit more maneuverability than your standard Souls game. I really liked it a lot. I'm surprised that it's only getting like 6s and 7s. I thought it would be more in the like 8 category.
Yeah,
but
I feel like this should be like a low 8.
Yeah, I think it's like a low 8. I think it's good. Like I enjoyed, like of the 15 hours, I probably enjoyed like 13 of them. I had like a really good time, and my only other real issue is that it doesn't overstay its welcome, which is great. Like I think like lengthwise it's good, but I think the variety is maybe a little bit lacking in its environments. Like when you get up to the part that you're up, which is kind of the first big boss that you fight, the first like main story boss that you fight, that's halfway through the game.
Oh, okay.
Right? Which is like, I was like, oh, I thought this would be like a, rule of thirds, where it's like you fight 3 big bosses, so there's 3 big areas or whatever. But the first area is definitely the biggest. The second area is smaller, and then the last area is even smaller than that. So the pacing is a bit strange.
Yeah, that's weird to think about, because I think I streamed 2 hours of this the other night before Stubby jumped on. And then I streamed, I think, 3 hours on Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're telling me I'm halfway through the game already, and that's like that's the first boss that I've actually felt was challenging.
So the main boss is the only ones I really had trouble with.
But that was me. That was me learning how to use like the fox to essentially weaken them to get a like a weak spot.
Definitely use it. And I like the flexibility in the skill tree, and kind of like you have different weapons and options of like you can use like a bladed weapon or a blunt weapon. You can use different kind of guns. Like there's a lot of mechanics in these games. Not all of them are great. But I think overall, like I think it's kind of getting a bit of a rough deal in the review department. I think it's better than people are saying it is.
Yeah, I mean, if Game Pass had like more games like this, I'd definitely be jumping on.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, like this is the kind of level of stuff that I want to be playing on Game Pass, to be honest. And Jake, I would definitely recommend it to you as someone who enjoys Souls games.
Noted. Yeah, I'm digging what you guys are saying about it, especially the duration.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind short Souls like. I mean, I know another Crash Treasure Works on that are like pretty short Souls like. So.
You should check out Sinner.
I wish it was still on Game Pass. Yeah.
Yeah. Sinner's one of those ones that I wish everybody like. I didn't check it out when I was in Game Pass. I did it for the Game Pass challenge after. But
the thing with Souls likes is they're usually like at least a 60-hour investment, and I'm just not always like ready for that.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that I was like, I checked the time, I was like, 15 hours. I was like, I finished this in like a week. I had like a good time with it, and I didn't feel like I was being dragged along. And a
nice little bite-sized Souls like experience sounds awesome.
Yeah. And
have you done another Crash Treasure?
No, not yet. I'm busy playing GameCube. I'm busy playing games from 20 years ago.
Pikmin won't play itself,
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
Oh man, I need to get back into Pikmin.
And you want to talk about Modern Warfare 3, Cameron?
Yeah, so I just started Modern Warfare 3 last night. I mean, in terms of realistically, I've only just done multiplayer. I just sort of get the level 55 achievement out of the way.
What Modern Warfare
what is
3
Call
is
of Duty?
What Modern Warfare? What is Call of Duty? Give me a deep dive into USA right now.
I got to get my SME in here to talk about the different types of Call of Duty that there is.
Right. No, seriously, is it the 360 Call of Duty 3 or Modern Warfare 3?
No,
or is it's the
one that came out last year.
Yeah.
So
I was genuinely like not sure which one it was.
I've only played multiplayer so far. The one thing I want to say about it is like the last game I played was Vanguard, and Vanguard for the most experience, I thought the multiplayer was very polished, and but it was starting to introduce like those cartoony aspects, and last night I'm playing Call of Duty and I'm going up against Black Noir and I'm going up against Wizard, and what the fuck is going on now?
I don't even know. I mean, like I installed this and I had to delete a bunch of shit because, of course, they make these games hugely unoptimized.
Also, the first time you load into this game too,
Yeah, what the
all
fuck?
8 of the studios just
Yeah,
like
it's like
popping
yeah,
up.
like I felt like I was watching a credit reel from like yeah, exactly, like a Marvel movie where they have to list every single fucking artist that worked on it. It was crazy.
No, also starting Spyro this week, having the Twisted Bob logo show up for Spyro, just being very cartoony and colorful and all that.
Yeah,
Having it come up for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and it's just like red separating apart. It's just like really weird. Anyway,
it's very stylized.
um, I mean, mechanics wise and all that, it feels very fun to play. Like, I mean, it might just be my internet connection being a lot better here and that, but like very hefty kind of gameplay.
Yeah, it definitely it's pretty weighty, which is a kind of I haven't played a Call of Duty in quite a while. I mean, I played Modern Warfare 2, I suppose, which is why I'm having to play Modern Warfare 3 because they fucking made it a DLC instead of a separate list.
It's gonna keep going on,
And Black Ops is gonna get added as well. So I'm never gonna be free of this curse.
That is the burden you bear starting a game in 2022 or 3 years.
Right? I was like, yeah, I was like, it will never. Yeah, I will never be done with it.
I saw Shane starting the Ubisoft one, and I'm like, that's
brave.
I realize you just sign up for a commitment, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, XDefiant. I was like, they're going to be adding to that for a long time.
yeah,
don't worry,
no
we'll have
way.
like Diablo 5 and then Diablo Mortals will get the.
Oh boy,
What?
don't,
Yeah.
don't you can make me throw up.
God. Anyway.
Yeah, so in terms of what I've played, like I literally installed it last night and I went through the first 4 missions. I'm really not enjoying it so far. The campaign is not great. First mission was fine, and then they started doing this. I know why they did it because they basically were rushing it, but they do these like open combat missions where they just put you in a square and they're like, hey, go do some objectives in whatever order you like, and we just won't put any narrative around it. And so I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you're in a shipyard. So it's like they just took like a multiplayer map. They're like, hey, you're in a shipyard. You need to go to this tower and grab this thing, and then go to the ship and grab the GPS things, and then tag some containers. And you get.
Is that how the original W3 was?
No, not at all. That's the thing. Is that like they basically like this got rushed so heavily that you can tell that half the campaign missions aren't missions. They're just like the Spec Ops missions from the previous games, where they just kind of like very vaguely throw some narrative over the top of it and make you kind of go and collect shit. It's like the 2 missions so of the 4 missions that I've completed, 2 of them have been those, and they've been bad. The last mission I did was a lot better, and then I'm on like mission 5 of I think there's like 14 missions or so, but I don't think any of them are going to be that great. We'll see. I'm just like I played it, and then I was immediately like I want to play something else right now. So the other thing that I played was Vigilante 8 on the 360, which is the car combat game on my cleanup list that I talked about a few weeks ago that that got all of my save reset on because the save is tied to your profile or whatever, and it wasn't going online, so I had to re-download it, deleted my entire save. So I've been doing that for fun, quote unquote, re-getting all my levels back up rather than playing Modern Warfare 3 at this stage, to give you an idea of how much I'm enjoying it.
Do you guys play video games you like? I don't understand.
Well, it's like I enjoyed Flintlock, right? And I'm probably
fair,
but that was I don't know.
Digimon Survive, I guess.
Here's the problem, right? I don't know I enjoy the video game until I've started it, and when I've started, I've got to finish it. So I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I know the Achievement Hunter. I'm the same way. You're 2 for 5 though right now. Digimon Survive and Flintlock,
and that's
everything
it.
else.
Yeah, of the 5 games that I've played, I have not really enjoyed any of them, which is any of the other 3, which is brutal. But I'm hoping that things like Dungeons of Hinterberg and things like that, once they get some guides out and people start, finishing them, that I'm going to jump on top of. And
I've only put like an hour into that game, but Dungeons seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
but that's me this week. I'm going to be I'm trying to go back to the 360 a little bit and be like, I've got Vin Diesel's The Wheelman installed on my hard drive to go and back and finish. So that's going to be a good one. Man, I got a lot of fucking non-backwards compatible stuff that I need to clean up. Jake, we haven't heard from you yet. What have you been playing?
Well, the only Xbox games I've played have been Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. I went for my victory lap from Project 8, and I played through Proving Ground. I was not looking forward to it at all. I was pleasantly surprised with just how much easier it was.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, first off, you can enable cheats, so that helps a lot. But it doesn't help with everything, obviously. I think a lot of it was just like I was well practiced from Project 8
Sure.
because that doesn't allow cheats and you have to just do absolutely everything. It's a higher ratio, which is interesting. But yeah, I did Proving Ground. I was nervous. I was not looking forward to it after Project 8 because that game was pain. That game had me sweating. That game had me swearing. Project 8 was a joy the pretty much entire time through. Nothing I really struggled on at all. It was the far better game because it ran at a stable 30 frames per second the entire time, opposed to Project 8, dipping from anywhere from 10 to 20. The only thing that sucked was, call back to earlier in the show. We talked about ridiculous early 360 games having ridiculous requirements. The 1,000 online matches was not a fun grind. It wasn't terrible. It was probably 6 or 7 hours of grind, but it was still just like incredibly boring and unfun. But I beat it, finished that off. So now I have American Wasteland, Project 8, and Proving Ground all done. That'll probably
We're gonna
be the
do
end of...
Shred and Ride now.
That's a ride, yeah, exactly.
No.
You gotta get those boards.
I was just about to say
board.
that'll probably be the end of Tony Hawk 360 games for me. Maybe the Pro Skater remake.
I need to do the Pro Skater remake, yeah.
Yeah. But I will probably do Pro Skater 1 and 2 and sit there and pray for a Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake. Because those were my childhood.
I really wish they would bring back Underground.
Yeah, Thug 1 and 2
is what I grew up on.
They need to do so. They were talking about doing a 3 and 4 remake, and then they canned it. Like Tony Hawk was talking about that. I'm pretty sure. Like he was saying they were going to do it, and then they stopped. I hope they pick that back up, and then I hope after 3 and 4 they do a Thug 1 and 2.
Yeah,
that'd be sick. Like just round it all off. And then I also finished, quote unquote, Need for Speed 2015. I'm not doing the speed list, and I'm calling the game done. If you look at my profile, the way I have achievements set, it says 100%. I'm taking it. So I started my next racer because I always try to have a racing game that I can play for when I only have like a lunch break to play a game or something. So I started Horizon 5. And I'll race you to an Eliminator win.
Oh, Christ. I still haven't installed, so I am still working on it.
And I'm hoping, because I didn't want to go back to Horizon 4 and do because all I have left is Eliminator, and I just didn't want to do it because I don't like Eliminator. But I was hoping doing Horizon 5 gets me kind of in the swing of things, that we're going back to 4 and finishing up that Eliminator will be a little less cumbersome. I have all the hard stuff. I just need to play, basically. And I just don't like it. So I've heard they put a lot of bots in Eliminator now in 4, though, which might make it easier.
Yeah, I'm not... I can't confirm, but I've had a few situations where I've been racing people with names that I'm like, that doesn't seem like a real name. And then I've been like... I saw a couple... Again, this might just be me. I saw a couple of situations where I was racing against someone, and they were winning, and then they just stopped right before the thing, and then they just let me win. And I was like, is that just people being nice, or is that bots trying to pad out the thing and make it look like it's more competitive than it actually is? I don't know.
Well, and I mean, you got to think too, like they running 2 battle royale game modes across 2 different games.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem realistic. Also, I remember playing Horizon 2, not even too long after it was pretty much a dead game. They stopped releasing stuff for it. And I was trying to find multiplayer games, and it was dead. Everyone was just on to Horizon 3. I think most people with the Forza games really just kind of go on to the next. Yeah. It's a sport game scenario. So I can't imagine they can continue Eliminator on Horizon 4 without dumping bots in. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I think 4 is the better game though.
Yeah, I think I'm probably right, but
I don't know. I'm playing 5, and there's a lot about 5 that I think 4 was missing. I also think they haven't hit even close to peak since 3. I think 3 was the best Horizon.
I mean, you can't beat Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, exactly. Australia.
Get in some rainy yellow beans,
Yeah, 3 was my favorite Horizon. 4, I think they did a lot of things. I don't know. The biggest thing about 5 that I didn't like was it's made way it's just targeted towards Zoomers way too much.
Yeah.
And by that I mean I opened the map up after doing the intro race, and it was just here's all these things to do, and it just was overload of like
Just have
things. And
Subway
it's just,
Surfer on one side of the screen to make
yeah,
sure you read
dude,
all the menu
seriously.
items.
Seriously, it's just like just absolute overload of stuff to do right out the gate.
Progression was like basically do a race and then like sections, right? I can't remember 4.
Yeah, 3 had more. 3 was like, here are the sections of the map that you have like things to do in. 4 was more like, I don't know, 4 was really just leaned heavily into the seasons thing. I feel like 4 was like the least progression based one I've played, maybe other than 2, but 4 was like really just like, do whatever you want and we have seasons now, and that's kind of what 4 was to me, which I didn't like at all. I loved 3's direction of like, you have to use a JDM car from the 90s, you have to use a muscle car from America. Like, I like that about Forza. It always made me try new things. And then 4 was like, Gen Z likes instant gratification, go ahead and use every race as anything goes, and I hated that. I didn't like that at all.
You just pick one car and use it for the entire game.
Yeah, 5 still has that, but I think they did it a little better. Like, I think the season playlists force you to use different cars a little more. And I know, like, I think they got a little bit better about, like, everything was still pretty much anything goes, but you'd started a dirt race, and they'd be like, you can do whatever you want, but we, like, really recommend you pick, like, some of these cars. And you could kind of change it up that way, but I still miss the way of where every race was, like, a car type. I miss that. I wish they'd bring that back, but I don't think they ever will, because people will be like, I want to just be able. Why can't I race the car I want to race? Why can't I just use
the
GTR
Koenigsegg in every race?
Yeah, why can't I use my Nissan Skyline for every race at all? I don't want to use a Toyota Camry. Like, shut up.
3 had the groove music implementation as well.
That was really cool. That was really cool.
Like, yeah, I just want to be able to play my own songs through the game.
Yeah,
I have the radio. I have all the music turned off because all I play is the Eliminator, so I need to be fucking locked in. I have turned off so many UI elements. I have done everything. I am like seeing me play the Eliminator is like I'm either I'm halfway between like meditation and a coma.
Have you seen the it's the gif of like the game, like they always use as the gamer guy who's just like shaking and sweating. Like, is that you when you're playing Eliminator?
That's me when I get to the top 10. And I'm like, okay, time for the final race. I know where the end's going to be. I have a level 8 car. I've got this. And then someone shows up with a fucking level 10 and it's like, just...
Oof.
Like exact replica of me, and I'm just like seeing, like,
oof.
Yeah.
Is it too late?
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, yeah, Horizon 5 is my racer, my lunch break, and before work game. And I'm enjoying it.
I need more Horizon content.
I need Horizon 6 to be placed
6,
in Japan.
Like Horizon 6 will be one. Yeah.
I
need it to be in Japan.
I was hoping we were saying 6 like mid-year though.
Yeah, no, it'll be next.
Some tease.
They'll tease it next year.
I don't care when we get it. It just needs to be in Japan. Like, stop. They just got to put it in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mexico didn't make any sense. Why? Going back to the UK didn't make any sense. Hell, 3 should have been Japan. They should have done Japan before they did Australia.
Fair. Although I think that maybe they're just like, hey, we really wanted a holiday in Mexico for an excuse to set up all these cameras to capture all the environment. And it's like, we stayed at a nice resort.
I think they're just scared to do it in Japan. Yeah, and I think they're right to be. Like, I don't blame them. You got to do it super right. You piss off. So there's so many different angles and different ways you could piss off different like people based on how you do it. So they're gonna have to do it eventually. I know. I feel like it's like the ever looming thing over their shoulders. Is like they even know that they're gonna have to do Japan eventually.
It's the Assassin's Creed thing again. They have to do Japan at some stage, right? So like, it's the question of when.
Yeah, when they just know it, and they're just trying to figure out how to do it perfectly because they have to. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, did you cover everything you were playing? Cameron, I got a few more, but
that's everything I've
got a few more.
Cameron, you got a few things.
Yeah, so I don't know how much I talked about Age of Empires 2's DLC last week.
You kind of mentioned that you'd started it.
Yeah. This is probably the hardest DLC that I've done so far, and because of that, it is the best.
Ah, I see. Right.
Like, I am actually appreciating the fact that they've stepped up the difficulty. There's much more options with these. There's such a large selection of missions. I think I've done like 3 or 4 out of the 17. But yeah, really enjoying my time with it. Just doing like these are like longer missions, so an hour and a half to 2 hours. But they've implemented stuff like you can carry on at the end of the mission and continue.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that last week. Yeah, right. Like kind of you can just like keep playing.
Like you can declare when you want to finish.
Oh, that's good.
And it's just like a technology tree kind of like, go to a building, research this, and then it'll win the match and declare victorious.
Gotcha.
But yeah, quite enjoying that. The only other thing I needed to talk about this week was Battlefield 2042. I'm really enjoying my time with it. The only issue I have is I'm down to, I think I've just hit like 10 achievements left. Dividing them into sections, I've got 2 achievements. Actually, I got 9 achievements left. There's 2 achievements now that are going to be relatively quick, take about an hour. That's reaching level 25 and repairing 1,000 damage on a vehicle. You can do these achievements though in what they call a experience mode. People can host experiences where you can change like some of the stats. So
okay, so
make
like
it
a
Terran, so like
lobby. Yeah.
max HP, that kind of stuff.
Got it.
So yeah, custom lobby kind of stuff. There is 3 or 4 achievements around a mode called Hazard Zone. Hazard Zone typically in the past needed 32 players to start it. It has now been reduced to 8 players. Every time I've searched for this mode, nobody's on it. It's
right. That's why it's 8 players.
Yeah. So you need to extract 25. You essentially need to play 25 matches, extract 50 hard drives, which is like the purpose of the mode, and survive the mode without dying, I'm pretty sure. So, like, it would be fine. It's boostable, but just getting 8 people together.
You got to get a session together. I mean, it's on EA Play, right? So anyone with Game Pass could.
I mean, you could hopefully get a few people together to do it. But this seems like the biggest setback for it. And then the remainder of it is like getting, I think it's like T1 weapon specialist, gadget specialist, that kind of stuff. Which I think is 1,200 kills. But because you can host into solo lobbies, Stadium's like amazing just to mow down people. Like I'm finishing matches in Stadium in like 8 minutes.
Wow.
I think there is like a max level you can reach before you have to go back to solo games. But like that's going to be the remainder of the grind. So like 2 weeks I've knocked out like 650 game score out of it.
Okay.
For a 80 to 100 hour game.
There you go. I got Battlefield 24 or Battlefield 2042 on Steam, and I really enjoyed it too. But it also was the game that made me realize I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I get you.
I no longer have first-person shooter. Like,
just can't do
I
it.
was bottom frag like every game. I was just like, oh god, how far have I fallen?
You're aging out, man.
I know, dude. I can't do it anymore.
These kids these days.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm really enjoying my time with it. And the other one was Spyro, which I quickly mentioned before. Just essentially it's me and Persephone playing, and Persephone will just pass me the control for the hard stuff.
Great game. Great. I'm really hoping that rumor that they're working on a new one is true, because I'd love another Spyro game.
Yeah.
But that is me.
Great. Jake, you've been playing a few things off the Xbox.
Yeah, now onto my retro bullshit. So
you not get to call Pikmin bullshit.
Well, let's start with Persona 1. So I played Persona 1 on PSP. God, I feel like I had a ton to go into about Persona 1 PSP. And then my life just became GameCube. Persona 1 is overhated. I hear a lot of people talk about how like it's basically unplayable these days. It aged out. You can't it's just aged like milk and it's unplayable. And I couldn't disagree more. Like it's not the best Persona at all, obviously, but like it's a totally serviceable RPG. I think it's just really jarring because it is like the combat's pretty basic RPG and it's pretty basic Shin Megami Tensei stuff, everything we're used to with that. But the dungeons are like an old school dungeon crawler where it's like first person and you like
Oh,
are moving
right.
around.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's how the dungeons work. And I think that's probably just really jarring for people, and some people are just like it's super off-putting if you're not ready for it, I guess. Um, but the story's fine. Like it's stories Shin Megami Tensei, and Persona.
You
I'm
killed
glad I
God at
played
the end,
it.
probably.
You basically no, no, kinda. I mean, it gets
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
obviously. It gets weird. Um, it's like one character is like actually like there's like three different parts of them and they all like come together to form this weird it's Shin Megami Tensei. It's weird stuff. Pandora's box and blah 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 blah. The achievements are on retro achievements. Aren't too terribly difficult, but they can get very, very tedious to the point where it's like the way Persona 1 works is different than any other Persona where it comes when it comes down to recruiting your personas is you have to like contact the demon and then you get like dialogue options with all of your party members and you have to every action you do either makes the demon happy, scared, eager, or angry. And you have to make the demon either fully eager or eager and happy, and then you can ask it to give you its card, and then you take its card, and you take two cards, and you can fuse them into a persona. You can only hold 12 cards at a time, which is really annoying.
Yep.
Now, there's a couple achievements where you have to have like very specific demons. Like you have to get specific gear, and to get the gear, you have to get the demon to max, or a persona rather, to max affinity, and then deconstruct it, and it gives you the gear. Now it gets into this weird thing where it's like there's different party members you can choose from, and not all of them. Like some of the demons you need to get or personas you need to get, you can only get them because with the specific character in your party because they have the action you need to make them eager, or you have the action you need to make them scared. Because there's also like these bonus items that you have to like scare a demon with a very specific person, which not every demon can be scared by this person. And then you have like a 15 or like a 30% chance of getting a drop, and then when you get that drop, it's a 50% chance of being the item you need.
This definitely sounds like Shin Megami Tensei bullshit for
it's
sure.
so fucking tedious. Like you're sitting by the end of it, I was sitting here like I had my cock board, my whatever board out, and my red
string and
like,
conspiracy board.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have to like get specific demons, and then they can only be equipped to very specific characters too. Like there's some demons that you can literally only equip to one character, and that's the demon or persona you have to like level all the way up and deconstruct. So it's like it's weird. So the first playthrough, because it's split into like two routes. The first playthrough I was able to do with getting this special character, run through, reload a save, and run through and get the bad ending, and get most of all the achievements in the game. And then my second route was very strategically picking enemies or picking characters to try to get the remaining items I need, only to find out when I went to go do it, I actually still needed to like change my configuration. So I had to beat the game once on the second route and then reload a save. And it worked out kind of okay because I needed to get the bad ending anyway, but like thank God for emulator speed up.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's just where I will praise emulator speed up, or else it would have been a nightmare. But it was good all in all. And then as soon as I finished Persona 1, basically to the day, they retro achievements, the place where I get all my retro achievement hunting, released GameCube support.
Yes.
And the GameCube is my favorite console of all time. So the first game I dove straight into Pikmin, which is a pretty straightforward completion. It's basically get all the things. There's one kind of funky special achievement for completing the second area of the game, without ever before you get blue Pikmin, which is kind of fun. You have to like use some. I talked about that earlier in the show, but you have to use some kind of tricks and speedrun tricks or whatever to get that to work. And then there's an achievement for beating the game with 25 items. There's an achievement for bad ending, achievement for 25 items, but not all 30 of the items, like all 25 critical items, but missing one just to like get a different ending, and then get all 30 items, and then another achievement for get all 30 items in under 12 days. Which, if you've never played Pikmin,
It's
you
fucking
have 30
quick.
days. Yeah. If you've never played Pikmin, you have 30 days in the game. It's like based on the days have cycles, and you have 30 days to get all 30 ship parts that are scattered around. It's various puzzles. Beating the game in 12 days is pretty quick. Pretty quick. There's a subset achievement list for called the 6-day challenge, where you have to beat the game in 6 days, which I don't even know. Like that's like speedrun perfection. I don't even know. Not even gonna try. But and then there's like do challenge modes, which the challenge mode was actually kind of a point of contention in the community for a while. Everyone was really pissed at the developer of the achievements because they required like the challenge mode is like you try to raise as many Pikmin as you can in one day in each of the maps, and one of them was like get the perfect 278 Pikmin in this map. Like that is the literal max like that you can get.
Right.
And one of the achievements was like do that, get the literal max, which requires like tool assisted speedrun level perfection basically. And everyone's like, dude, come on, these are insane. And he basically for a while he was like, you must be new here. Tough luck. They're challenging on purpose. And everyone's like, you're fucking ridiculous. And he eventually like patched them back and made them easier and more obtainable. And you just saw the completions shoot up.
I was gonna say, yeah, like no one would have fucking done that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we were like it was like 4 or 5 days in, and most people had almost every achievement in the game except those. There was like 2 people who had maybe 2 of the challenges done on hardcore mode. And it was just insane. It's like, dude, come on, like you're being ridiculous. But that was a fun completion. As soon as I finished that, I jumped right into one of my favorite games of all time, Chibi Robo, which is a game where you're this little robot chore bot that does chores for this house and goes around, and then at night the toys talk. And it's a fun little...
It's fucking adorable.
Fun little game. It's adorable. It's a fun little adorable game that doesn't like... Yeah. It's just great. It's just great. If you've never played Chibi Robo, I highly recommend it. Yes, they apparently just the original minds behind Chibi Robo announced a spiritual successor of sorts in a Kickstarter, which I'm very excited about to hear. But if you've never played Chibi Robo, go play Chibi Robo. And then just last night, after finishing Chibi Robo off, I started Killer 7.
I love Killer 7. That game is so nuts.
I also adore Killer 7. I got my physical copy. It's right here next to me while I play. Killer 7 was like one of the first games I ever played that taught me that a video game story, especially from Japan, can be an absolute mindfuck. Like just a complete blow your mind, doesn't make any sense, batshit insane. That was my first experience with those types of games. And otherwise, it's just like, you know, it's just cool. It's just mid-2000s Japanese cool. It's the only way I can think of to describe it. Super stoked to be playing that game again.
For those who don't know, it's the same developer who did what was it?
Killer is Dead?
Killer is Dead, No More Heroes, Lollipop Chainsaw.
Grasshopper.
Yeah, Grasshopper, yeah. Shadows
and the achievement list for that seems pretty straightforward. Oh, the Chibi Robo's achievement list is pretty basic. It's I don't think there was anything. Oh, there's a few missable things, but they're like beat the game without dying. But like it's really hard. It's really easy to not die in that game.
Yeah.
And then it's just like beat all the story stuff, beat all the side missions. Kind of annoying was find all the trash in each room and find all the coins in each room. Mostly because if you leave and come back, they all respawn. So does your countdown thing. So you have to you have to stay in the room and finish it off. And there's a couple of rooms where like the timing's kind of tight because it's also on a day-night cycle, where you have like 15 minutes in the day and 15 at night. And if you don't get it before the cycle, like it resets, which was kind of annoying. But other than that, pretty easy list. Killer 7's list doesn't seem too terrible. So again, if you've ever played Killer 7, you know that once you beat Killer 7, you didn't beat Killer 7, and then once you beat Killer 7 a second time, you still didn't beat Killer 7. So, yeah, it's gonna require a bit of effort on that front, but I'm stoked to do it. So, Killer 7 was hilarious. It was literally like, you beat the game. No, you didn't.
Yeah,
you beat it again. No, you didn't.
That's one of those ones that I was like, I can't believe made it to the West. I'm so glad it did, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's a sick game, dude. If you've never played Killer 7, much like everything else I've mentioned on the GameCube, go play Killer 7. It has a PC, modern PC port on Steam. You can go buy it for $20 if you don't want to hunt down a GameCube or PS2 copy or find one somewhere.
I mean, I'm always keen to see
around.
what Suda's working on. Like, Suda 51 is just some ridiculous stuff, always.
Yep.
All right.
So, that's me.
Is that everything we've been playing?
Yeah, and I don't think I'll be getting away from retro anytime soon. GameCube favorite console. They released 100 games with it.
Fuck.
All bangers. They just released Animal Crossing.
Every time
2.
you're on, Jake, I'm like, maybe I should just quit Xbox achievement hunting and just move on to retro.
Super Smash Brothers Melee has 330 achievements, and I'm gonna
me.
get every single one of them. Like, I'm fucking stoked, dude. I'm on Team GameCube right now. I don't even know. Xbox, never heard of them. Like, I'm retro achievements right now all the way.
Brutal.
I couldn't be happier.
Smash. All right, well, let's move on to the tail end of the show. So we've got the leaderboards. So in third place, we have Martel with 8,925. In second place, we have Basham with 13,130. And in first place, we have Thrash Forever with 31,500. Thrash, mate, you got to calm down. I don't know how you keep doing this week on week. I don't know how you put up like 30k gamer score in a week every single fucking week. Like, that's sick. Get help. On the completion front, Cameron, do you want to run through those?
Yep. So Raw Dogger did Uno, Disco Dodgeball Remix, College Football 25, Golf Tee It Up, Monster Energy Motocross, Momonga Pinball, and Pocket Bike Racer.
That's nuts. That's 1 week. He's been finishing so much stuff. Yeah. I'm proud of him.
Chin Doctor did Whisk Pike Survivors. Firehawk did Dead Rising and all completable versions in the series. Moonzom did Still Wakes the Deep. Stubby did Harold Halibut. Code Phoenix did Mafia Definitive Edition. And Spurs did Neon White.
And Jake did Pikmin and Chibi Robo.
That is true. That is true. You did do those.
I'm just kidding.
And
I
want
TA,
to do like Luigi's Mansion and Sunshine.
Fucking Metroid Prime 1 and 2.
What I was between was Killer 7 and Luigi's Mansion. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do. Killer 7 seemed to have the more straightforward list, though. Luigi's Mansion's a little more like do the the first mansion and then do the hidden mansion and like do special stuff on them. And I was like, I don't really want to deal with that now, but I will.
What does the Wind Waker list look like?
I don't think terrible. They also have the Twilight Princess list.
Yeah,
Is that?
God damn it.
Wind Waker,
Yeah,
Twilight
dude.
Princess.
I have too many other games to play. No, I can't get into this.
Eternal Darkness, F-Zero GX,
You kill
Donkey
me.
Konga,
I'm gonna mute you. This is crazy.
bro. Billy Hatcher.
I kind of just want to do the main ones. Oh my god, Beyblade.
Kirby Air Ride has 203 achievements.
People are insane.
Wind Waker 126, Twilight Princess 1. Dude, we need a GameCube theme. When's the GameCube theme?
Yeah, we'll do a
happening?
GameCube theme. We will do it. When I finish all my other
Can
games.
can we just do a theme month that's just like non-Xbox achievements?
Non-Xbox achievements? Sure. Why
Yeah, there we go.
Can we
There
just
we go.
do
I
all
like
retro
that.
hunting for a month?
I like that. As somebody who I feel like their completions are like only 20% Xbox these days, I like that.
Jesus. All right. Well, we also have the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition, where I pick a game. You guys go on the Discord and guess in the word challenge channel what the game is, and if you get the game right, you win $20 New Zealand, which I'll PayPal you or whatever's easiest. Each week I give away a clue. You get one guess per hour. So the first clue was this game is from a now defunct publisher. It got an Xbox remaster, and the new clue is this isn't the first game in the series. So that's actually a double clue. So, because now you know it's in a series and you know it wasn't the first one. So it's one of the sequels. Or spin-offs, potentially. So, yep, get in there. Start your guesses. I want to see some guesses. I saw Isaac was in there guessing. I want to see some more guesses now that we're kind of getting down to the wire. Next week's clue is going to be a big one. It's going to nearly give it away.
I got a bone to pick with you about the game, the hints,
Mm-hmm.
you used the hint, not the witness, when you didn't choose the game, the looker, and that would have been perfect.
That would have been perfect. But I ain't giving people away stuff that easily.
It would have been that easy. Like that's the
People would have got it immediately. Cameron puts
What do
the
you
witness.
mean?
Cameron puts the witness, and then someone puts the looker immediately afterwards.
Really?
I've made people very aware of the looker.
Yes,
in the game.
Cameron is a huge
Okay.
supporter of the looker.
Looker
Fair
is
enough.
such a good game.
It is hilarious. Okay, fair enough.
I
didn't know
I
that
might do
there
the
was-
witness as my like 3 million or something as a joke. That would be a good one.
There
Even
you go.
Keo did it.
Yeah,
would
like
do
I
that.
know it's doable. I'm just bad at games.
Actually, you know what? That's probably a good example for the question at the start of the episode.
Yes, interesting. Yeah,
Because isn't that last puzzle unique? Like
yeah, it's
truly
the last challenge is unique puzzles all the way through, so you can't just do it from a guide.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't done the game yet.
Get good, scrub.
Exactly, that's literally what that is.
At puzzles? No, not happening.
We've also got a Patreon for our supporters of the show who help make the show possible. Patreon.com/WallofGamers. A huge thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natola Neda, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Happy Pone, Cavaliers07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, McLovin Legend, Marsage, or Mace J, Left for Legacy, and McNulty. Huge thank you to all of you. We literally couldn't afford to do the show without you guys. We're pretty much just breaking even at this point. So if anyone wants to help support, feel free to jump on and give us some cash. If you do join, we do all of our extra content, the sort of before and after show stuff that we do, which I know I haven't done a few recently because we've been very, very busy. And also Lights, Camera, and Action. We've got one more episode of Fallout to record, and then we'll see what happens with that show. But any kind of extra stuff that we do will go on the Patreon, either exclusively or at least will be there first for a little bit. And that's pretty much it. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Come hang out in the chat. What do we got to shill? Cameron, are you doing any streaming?
Yeah, I've been streaming Flintlock and a little bit of Lords of the Fallen Stubby over at Shadowless AU. That's pretty much me. Yeah, probably just going to stream more Flintlock.
Sweet. Jake, what about you?
Follow me on Retro Achievements, Reptar Nice 3000.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one to do. Yeah. Apparently that's good. The show's pivoting, guys. I'm telling you right now. It's a fucking takeover.
And increase Game Pass one more time, I swear.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, people get sick of paying for Game Pass. Yeah, exactly.
One more and pay increase. Retro Achievements till I die.
And I'm Neomaster on everything, True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. A huge thank you to our community. Thank you to my hosts and all the support that happens behind the scenes. That's been episode 133. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.
Bye, everyone.